Like the calm before a storm, 2022 was supposed to be the storm after 2021, but it ended up looking like those gray skies where it feels like it's about to rain. Almost. Just one drop. And instead, a bird shits in your mouth. It's absolutely criminal to see how far the standard for the majority of AAA games has fallen. It's as if the collective gaming community is holding up a sign saying, "Our standards were low, but holy fuck." Games that were supposed to be great ended up being okay good, and games that were supposed to be okay good are lying on the floor in the middle of having a seizure, and then a bird shits in their mouth. Ghostwire Tokyo was whack. Marvel's Avengers was still releasing content for the 10 people who were playing it. The best thing about the new Modern Warfare 2 was a meme of Ghost. Companies kept announcing remakes because they saw Capcom and Square doing it, so why not do it for the free money? You know, just slap the word remake on it and call it a day. Enough whining. Let's talk about the good shit that happened this year. Indies came out and absolutely bodied the gaming landscape. Video game adaptations broke the dreaded curse of being absolute garbage. I played a game about a cyberpunk cat, then watched an anime about a cyberpunk frat. Sonic had a significantly faster year on TV than on consoles. I played a game where I overthrew an empire by cheating at cards, but it was a certain Joker who ended up stealing the show for me. And while watching the Cuphead show, I learned that Mugman and I have a lot in common.
Hey, I've read that book. Mugbeard dies in the end.
That's a good one. It dies.
Nintendo had a pretty busy year too, but not the kind I would have liked, and I didn't capitalize on it as much as I wanted to. 2 sports games that try to stretch out free DLC instead of included in the base game. 3 trequels that I didn't end up completing. Overwatch 1.5 came out and... Huh? Overwatch 2? Why? It's the same game. Oh my god. You know what? Forget it. Just open the list. Cult of the Lamb. There's been a saturation of roguelikes in recent memory, but how many of them let you play as a satanic lamb who owns a farm and has a cult following who obeys his every whim? On the surface, it's very cute and cuddly, but when you start sacrificing elders and the cult goes, that's when you know you've created something amazing, but also fucked up. You can marry them, work them to the bone, clean their doo-doo, and even feed it to them. Can you do that in Animal Crossing? God, I hope not. There's only one sci-fi horror game that warrants a place on this list. Signalis. This is one of those slow burn kind of horror games where the atmosphere is the star of the show. It's like a descent into madness, and the further down you go, the worse the horrors get. The puzzles aren't too complex, the combat mechanics are old school, but the presentation is top notch. The pixel art style frequents between a third-person view, a first-person view, and some badass cutscenes that go back to pixel horror games like Ib, Mad Doctor, and even Aoni. The less I say about this game, the better. And if you like Silent Hill and the original Resident Evil games, go and play this. I love platformers. They're my favorite genre ever, and any platformer that's published by Nintendo is a gift. Kirby and the Forgotten Land isn't just a gift, it's the present that sends you back to the past. Oh shit, man! Rest in peace, Master Ugui, that was for you. It's not the most difficult game, it's not even the most challenging, but it's fun as shit, and that's all it needs to be. The level design is compact, the abilities are varied and have cool upgrades, the bosses are badass, but in this game, Kirby has a gambling addiction. He's lazy, he bullies Waddle Dees for fun, and yet I turn a blind eye because the soundtrack is amazing. Don't be a bitch, Kirby.
Cyberpunk 2077.
I didn't play this game on release, and I'm glad I waited till it came out on PS5 because the bad rep this game gets is not one it deserves. I don't like open world games that much, especially when the gameplay isn't all that, but a good story can make all the difference, and Cyberpunk 2077 is a great story. The first arc is a masterpiece, and the second and third arcs sorta lag behind in comparison, but the overall experience is still a roller coaster of twists and turns, high stakes, and your decisions actually meaning something in the greater scope of the game. I feel like the anime made this an even better experience, but even if you don't watch it, you should still go and give this game a second chance. Just not on last gen. That shit has problems. I bitch about first-person shooters a lot because Doom Eternal ruined them for me, and now Neon White will make FPS games feel like I'm playing on the back of a sloth who smoked up while listening to Drake. I just want to go faster and faster and faster. The soundtrack keeps egging me on like it's okay if you didn't beat your best time because you get to listen to this all over again. Now, if you're like a certain YouTuber, you don't want the gold medals, you want the blue medals. But if you're like me, fuck the blue medals. You want that red shit. But it took me an hour for every red medal I got, so I think you're better off getting the blue ones. If you ever wanted a John Wick Daredevil martial arts video game, Sifu is as good as it gets. It's tough as nails but absolutely fair, at least until the club level. This is one of those games where you're like, no, I can do this better. Boom! Finish the game in my 50s. Boom! Now I'm in my 40s. Boom! 30s. Boom! Fucking 20s. The name of the game is muscle memory. Less parrying and more dodging. Seriously, just practice dodging. And once you get the hang of it, it's your time to turn the tables and whoop some ass. 5 years. I waited 5 years for a 3-hour DLC, but Jesus Christ, it was worth it. The delicious last course just adds more of what made the first game so fun. Cuts out the stupid bitch run and gun bits and replaces them with a parry-only series of boss battles. Chalice is a playable character. There's a boss where you fight dogs on plains. There's a boss where you fight dogs on desert plains. There's a boss where you fight Broadway. Yeah, they should make another game called Mugman now. Inspiration is hard. You're either called a clone and dismissed, or you make a name for yourself and go down in history as a legend. Tunic is the latter. On the surface, it's a pretty basic game that might as well get lost in the hundreds of other similar indies, but when you take the time to really figure out its puzzles for a more satisfying ending, you're rewarded with one of video games' greatest ever puzzle segments. They can be difficult to solve and might even turn people away for being too obtuse, but for those who get them, there's no greater feeling. Tunic is a game about secrets and a game of few words, and yet it speaks volumes for how far ahead the indie scene has progressed. Play this game, please. How do you top 2018's Game of the Year and somehow try to tell an even more ambitious story? I don't fucking know, but Santa Monica have done just that, creating a masterpiece in 4 years. We all know how incredible the story is, but I'm not sure why people have been going on about how the gameplay hasn't changed. The spear is badass, you can fight as a fox, you have different companions, you travel across the 9 realms, we're fighting nidhogg's and giant dogs, and Sindri is really funny, I wish he accompanied me more often, and there's a funny squirrel who reminds me of Buck, and Lady Sif. But really, it's just overall an incredibly fun time. A game where when you're finally done, you think, damn, now what? For any game that tries to tell an engaging story after the bar has been set this high, good luck. Really, good luck. You know who I'm talking to. When I was 6 years old, I dreamt of a video game world full of fantastical beasts, kings and queens with all these cool weapons and spells to use against them. In 2022, that dream didn't only come true, but now makes me feel like I can't dream of a better video game. Elden Ring doesn't feel real, and I can't believe it is real, but guess the fuck what? Oh my lord! This game shouldn't exist, but it does, and it's a reminder that even though the rest of the AAA industry is sucking ass, Japan is out here making my childhood dreams come true. I will talk about this game to my wife, my kids, my grandkids. And then he pulled out 2 giant cleavers while riding a little horse and killed everyone on the battlefield. So many deaths, so many triumphs. I remember wondering if I would even beat this game, but I did. And then I was wondering if I would even beat Moog, but I did. And then I was wondering if I would even beat Melania.
Hadouken!
Yes!
Hadouken!